Has there ever been a good video game movie? I say yes. And this is my top 5.
Ta-da!
At number 5, I have Sonic the Hedgehog. Some people are saying this is the greatest video game movie of all time. It's not. It's probably what inspired me to make this list. I think everyone's just kind of surprised that it turned out better than we initially thought when seeing the first trailer with the terrible CGI. But when it boils down, this movie is average at best. Like, Sonic's in it, he's running fast, he ran his way into just like a passable movie. If it didn't star Sonic, you guys would forget about this movie in a day. It's nice to see James Marsden getting work. Sometimes I worry about him. Probably since the X-Men days, he's may have had a bit of trouble making mortgage payments. I don't know, but it's good for him that he's in this movie. But other than that, no. It's again, it's good enough to be number 5 because the history of video game movies includes U-Bowl. Everything he made was just garbage. Resident Evil, they didn't even adapt the video games, and on top of that, those weren't good movies either. It's when the majority of something is crap, when something is not crap, people like to cling to it. But yeah, Sonic is average, but average, kind of almost good enough that I put it at number 5.
Ta-da!
At number 4, I have Detective Pikachu. I am a pretty huge Pokemon fan. I grew up really loving the franchise. I'm excluding the animated films from this list because they are more based on the Pokemon franchise, which is in fact originally based on video games, but Detective Pikachu is directly based on the video game Detective Pikachu. So I view that more as, just more of a video game movie. But yeah, Detective Pikachu, it was decent. I like to see all the Pokemon in live action. I found that very nostalgic. The characters were kind of interesting. The writing, dialogue, not too bad. They did recycle the whole gas the entire city cliche from Batman Begins, The Amazing Spider-Man, the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie. The fact that we'd seen it so much and it had been years since I'd seen that, I was like, oh my god, they are doing the gas the entire city cliche. But beyond that, there's also a twist at the end. No spoilers here, but if you've seen the movie, you know the whole thing with Pikachu. I thought that was really dumb and somewhat invalidated the entire movie, but it was still good enough to be number 4 on this list.
Ta-da!
Number 3 is Rampage. I played the Rampage games a bit back in the day. I think I had the GameCube one, Total Destruction. They were kind of silly games, you just go around destroying stuff, but this movie was similar. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. It had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I am not a hardcore fan like some people are that just worship The Rock, but he gives a good performance in this movie. It's fun. They do their best to adapt the video game. There are segments that look like the video game that they take right out of the video game. So they're able to make like a decent kind of kaiju movie while still, I guess, appeasing the fans of the video game if they even exist. Like, I know people like the video game, I'm not sure how big the fan base is that they would complain if the movie wasn't accurate to the lore. But anyway, I thought Rampage was decent, and it's number 3.
Ta-da!
Number 2 is Mortal Kombat. A lot of people don't like this movie. I'm not sure if a lot of these people have even watched the movie from beginning to end. I think they just watch the silly segments and they're like, oh, it's a cheesy martial arts movie. It's so bad, ha ha ha. And it is a cheesy martial arts movie that really isn't that bad. Like the other movies, it does its best to adapt the video game. Maybe it wasn't that accurate. It was in the 90s. It was before a lot of the Mortal Kombat lore was really established. And it's a decent martial arts movie. It's not one of the greatest of all times, but if we're talking about just being a good movie, a lot of video game movies are really bad. Mortal Kombat is not. It's fun. I really like the Liu Kang character. My only real complaints from it is that he gets sidelined in favor of Johnny Cage. Of course, it's Hollywood. I think a lot of it, they just want the white guy to star. Then in the third act, Sonya kind of becomes a damsel in distress. So I don't really like the movie in those aspects, but just as a decent video game adaptation of Mortal Kombat, it has a spirit. It's a decent Hollywood martial arts movie. I do think in the future they could do better with the Mortal Kombat franchise. I think there is an upcoming movie, and if they really reach into the lore, they could do a truly great film. But I stand by the fact that the first Mortal Kombat movie from the 90s was a genuinely good film.
Ta-da!
Number 1, Tomb Raider, the Alicia Vikander version. I think this movie's really good. I saw it in theaters with basically no expectations. I have not played the Tomb Raider video games. I have heard that this is a direct adaptation of the rebooted video game franchise, and it's good. I did see the Angelina Jolie ones back in the day. They were kind of whatever. But this Tomb Raider movie, it is a good adventure movie. If you guys have not seen it, Alicia Vikander gives a good performance. Walton Goggins gives a good performance as the villain. The effects are good. They're fun. It's fairly original. They stay away from kind of a romantic element in favor of a father-daughter relationship. It's well-paced, well-directed. It's good fun. Just see it if you haven't. Yes, maybe it was a little bit similar to Indiana Jones. That's hard to avoid. And yes, I think Tomb Raider from 2018 is the greatest video game movie of all time. So, that's it for today. Please rate, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.